All right, today we're going to build the BuddiHex Hexbeam. I've built this thing probably 5 or 6 times, and every time I've done it faster than Jason at Ham Radio TV. That's a dig. Maybe not, maybe not, we'll see. But Ham Radio 2.0, where we do reviews, news, and how-tos of things that are new in amateur radio. This antenna is so new that it's not even out in market yet. I've had this antenna since January. I built it for winter field day in January. This is June right now for field day 2021. And I'm gonna build it again. Several changes have been implemented between January and June in the last 6 months, to where I recorded a video of myself building the antenna back in January, but Chris from Buddpole has changed a few things on it, and he's like, well, mention this and mention this and mention this. I was like, okay, let's just do another video. It's gonna be fresh in your eyes, and I hope you like it. So the first thing I'll show you, this is the pack that's all broken down. These are the 6 elements, 6 meter, 10, 12, 15, 17, and 20. They all come in Ziploc bags like that. Those right there are actually for the mast work system. We'll get to that in a minute. These are your 6 arms right here. There's paracord around the arms, and then this is your center post. These arms all snap in between these pieces right here, top and bottom, and this thing kind of rolls up into one, and there's a nice big Velcro loop that goes around it. I don't have all that together right now because I wanted to break it down and show it to you the way you're gonna have to tear it down like this before you build it anyway. In addition to that, it comes with what he calls this builder, I think he calls this like a setup mast or something. I forget exactly what he calls this, but the purpose of this, it's got the top in it right here, and it's the same oblong triangular shape as the mast works right here. And the purpose is to replace this center mast so you can build the antenna without the antenna being 12 feet in the air. So that's what we're gonna do right now. So I got the center part of the mast works taken out, and I've got the build mast put in the center. Now what we're gonna do is build the antenna on top of this, and once the antenna is completely built, we'll remove the antenna, which only weighs about 8 pounds when it's totally built, and we'll replace it with the correct push-up mast that goes inside the tripod, and then it'll all be put together the way it should be. This is just for building the antenna, and it's so that you can build it from this level off the ground instead of way up there in the air, because let's face it, not all of us are 12 feet tall. And when you build the antenna, it's a good 2 feet from top to bottom by itself. So you're gonna have to reach up to the very top and walk around and string up the 20 meter element, and that's gonna be challenging in and of itself. So let's get started. All right, so this little piece right here in the actual Hexbeam center mast, what I think he calls this, he's got a name for this. It's like the center feed point or something, center feed mast, I think is what he's calling this. I don't remember exactly, but this is where this attaches here. Your elements are gonna go in the bottom right here, and they're gonna go up to the top. So we're gonna put the first one in. This is a 3-section piece right here that breaks down. It breaks down so it's easier to transport right now. When you get the Hexbeam itself, like I said earlier, it weighs about 8 pounds. So the package it comes in the nice zip-up bag, traditional Buddpole style looking bag, is probably like maybe 10 pounds with the extra wraps for the elements, and the extra bags and the bag itself. It's probably like 10, maybe 11 pounds, something like that, but the actual antenna, when you get it all built, is only about 8 pounds. So you unwrap the paracord from around, there's two pieces of paracord coming off the end. We're gonna get to that in a second. I'll show you what that's for. And then you extend these fiberglass poles that have there's a name for it, stretch paracord inside of it. It's got this cord inside of it that's elastic. There's probably a name for that too. I'm losing my terminology today. It's too hot out here. The sun is frying my brain. That's the problem right there. So this is the element number 1, and it does, ooh, that's not good. And it does not matter which is which. All 6 of these are exactly the same. You can put them in any section of the tripod, or of the center mast that you want, the center driven mast. So it doesn't matter what order they go on because they're all the same. put the second one in so it's a little bit more balanced. Then I'm gonna do a zoom up shot and show you exactly what I'm doing here. It takes a little bit of time to wrap and unwrap these when you break it down and put it back together. It's not bad though, once you get the hang of it. I think it took me about an hour to build it the first time I built it. And actually Chris walked me through it over the phone. It's very, very helpful in that way. So I'm gonna try to do it justice for this instructional video on how to build the thing. Make sure we get every point. A couple of the things in the driven element, in the element, the wire elements. There's 6 wire elements because it's a hex beam, 6 sides, 6 bands. A couple of those things have changed. We're going to go over that in a minute as well. And like I said, it doesn't matter which leg goes in which socket. They're all the same. So you don't have to remember to put them in order or put it together wrong and figure out that after you get it in the air, you're like, oh shoot, that's not the right placement. It doesn't matter. It makes it really easy to not get confused with which leg of the hex beam attaches to which piece of the center mast. Just like that. Okay, let's show you what I did here. Here's what we've done right here. Is this part, okay, let me get better angle. All right, so what we've done right here, this goes into the center piece here, and I'll pull it out right here. This is an angled piece that has it has a T section in it, so the paracord, it's tied into the paracord, and it just goes through the open hole right there and then fits inside of this. I know that the background's too bright, so you can't really see that very well. Maybe I'll get a flashlight on it. Here, that one's better. That one's better right there. Okay, so this paracord comes off of the arm. There's 2 sections. The top piece goes to the center mast, and the side, and the one coming out of the left side, or the right side, I guess, depending on which way you're looking at it, goes to the next leg that will go here. So what he told me, the way he told me to build it is put all the legs in and put all the center pieces up, so that when, as the first step, it's going to look like, basically like that right there, but with all 6 of them in there. And then once you get all the center pieces tied to the center mast right here, then we can tie each of the legs together with the additional paracord that comes out of the top of this piece right here. So let's put the other 6 up, or the other 4 up right now. We've got 2 up so far, and we're going to do 4 more so that it'll have 6 legs for the hex beam. All right, step 1 is complete. Well, maybe step 3, I don't know, depending on how you're counting it. So you can see now all 6 bands, or I'm sorry, all 6 legs are in the top. This is the bottom, gosh. All 6 legs are now in the bottom, and all 6 of them are tied to the top with this paracord here, so that all of the legs are kind of tilted upward in an upwards curved fashion like you would expect to see on a hex beam. And now we take this guy here. Each leg has a top paracord coming out, which is this one right here that I mentioned a minute ago, and one coming out the side. This is our right side we're looking at now. If you're standing in the center of the hex beam, it's the left, whichever. They all come out the same side. So now this piece of paracord right here I have in my hand ties to this next leg over here, in through this section right here. And it just kind of loops through there. Hopefully I can see, I can't even see that because of the sun. So it loops through from that leg to this leg, and then you tie all 6 of them together, and then we will start putting the elements on. Once the structure itself is built, just like that. Maybe you can see that a little bit better. The sun might have been a little bit, so that right there is the paracord that came from that leg, goes to this leg, and then we're going to take this one off the other side and string it right over here to the next one. And they're kind of loose at first. They're kind of loose at first because there's no tension on them right now, but once you get them all 6 strung together, they'll come together nicely, and it'll form a little bit better shape than what you're seeing right now. All right, so the last one is strung up now, and now there's a little bit more tension on these paracord lines in between each leg. So it's looking a little bit better now structure-wise, kind of what you would expect to see. This is a BuddiHex, but this is a hex beam with no elements on it right now. So your elements will tie in here to the center, and they're color coded. This is what's really cool about it. So this is black, is 6 meters. This is 10 meters, 12 meters, 15, 17, and 20 is at the top right here. I asked him if he could do like a 2 meter on the band, since the IC705 is a popular radio out right now, and it has 2 meter sideband on it. And he tried to string one on here, and he said that it just didn't resonate. It wasn't resonant enough for him to feasibly add it. So I don't know if you're going to see that upcoming or not. I don't know if that's going to ever be a thing or not. Maybe that's something you can add later. Don't know. I also want to try to add, I don't know how feasible it would be to add one of the Radio Waves 40 meter add-ons that they make for multiple hex beams. They make an add-on kit that fits on their own hex beam, but on other manufacturers too. I don't know if that would fit on this one or not, but it'd be cool to try. So this is so now we're ready to start with the elements, and that's where we're gonna put 6 meters on first, and then go up to the top from there. Opening up the bag, and he wrote all these numbers on it right here. So it says 6M, 10M, 12M, and all that. They come in this these kind of kite string looking wraps, and of course the 6 meter is the shortest one, so that's the one that goes on the bottom. So we're gonna take this entire thing off. I might replace these kite string type wraps for like a better, like, what do they call them, like the infed half wave style, or the infed antenna style wrap that you can find plans to print those on, like Thingiverse and whatnot. You 3D print them. But so this is the element here. There's a paracord separating the element at both ends, so that when you put it up, there's a driver and there's a reflector, and that's why it's called a beam, because it's got a 2-element. So there's 3 pieces of wire in here. 2 of them act as the front driver, and 1 of them acts as the back reflector. All right, so this is, like I said, the 6 meter one, and I said it was color coded. These connectors that connect the wire to the paracord in the center are color coded the same color as these posts on the center feed mast point. So this part, and this is one part that he's changing. I told you he was going to be changing a couple things. One part he's changing is these are ring terminals right here. You got that in the shot? Mm-hmm. Okay. These are ring terminals. He's putting hook terminals on the new models so that you don't have to take this piece completely off and risk losing it. So this is an old style with the ring terminal still on it. I'm just going to keep this because I don't mind that so much, but it certainly makes sense to have a hook terminal there. Then you just kind of loosen that a little bit, put the hook terminal on it, and tighten it down. So now, go ahead and follow me. So now we're going to string this around, and we're going to put it underneath the leg right there. These right here, these are also color coded. This is a black one. If you move up here, this is the gray one. There's a stopper for it. This is yellow, red, green, and the blue one right here at the top is obviously 20 meters. So all of your elements, as well as the posts in the center, and as well as these pieces of the wire, are color-coded to match one another. So what you want to do when you string this around is make sure that the hanger for the element right here is pointed down towards the ground. You want to hang the element underneath the legs. Come around here. Make sure it's down all the way to the stopper. Doesn't go out down any further. Around here. Just like that. Just like this here. You can just zoom out and get me in a wider shot for this last piece. Here. And if you want to put the antenna up higher than this with the tripod and the build mast I was talking about, you can certainly do that. And then we come back around to the same spot. It went dark on me. I don't know what it's fine. The screen does that to save battery. So you put it back in the same spot, come back to the same side of the antenna, and put the other end, which is again still a ring terminal, but the new ones will have hook terminals, right there. So now, if you stand out a little bit, get me in the shot. So now this V right here is your direction that the antenna is pointed when you put it up and you put it all together and put it up and you want to know which direction it's pointed in the direction of this beam. This is forward and that's backward. So, and this is your forward element. If you want to get a little bit closer shot right here, Frank. This is your forward element, this V here, and it's separated by the paracord to the back element, to the reflector in the back. So this one element in the back is your reflector, and then these two elements in the front that are tied together with the center mast is your driven element. So it works as any two element beam would. So that's the 6 meter side. It goes together the same way for the other 5 bands. I'm just going to put those together now. So after doing all of that, we're down to the 20 meter element here, which is the longest one, obviously. Right there. It's going to go at the top. In addition to stringing up the 20 meter element, there's this ballon. It's not really a ballon. It's a 1-to-1. He's gone through 2 or 3 renditions of this also. Each one of these goes at the top so that there's a single feed point for the entire antenna at the top at the 20 meter element, where the 20 meter element is at the top of the center feed mast point, but the center feed mast point is built in such a way that this controls all 6 elements that are on it. Again, he's gone through a couple of different renditions of these. I know this was a holdup for him for a while because he had one that was not working well over 500 watts, and now he's got a design that's going to work up to 1.5 kW as it should. I've run about 600 watts through this with no problem. So I think he said this one's probably good up to 1,000. What he's talking about right now, what he's talking about doing, the latest news I got from him is that he was going to build a new version of this and send it out to all the folks who already had the antenna. And this would have, because this right here just has a B and C. You can see right there. Hopefully the camera focuses. This just has a B and C like most of his Buddpole stuff does. So he's going to do a version of it with an SO239 that'll be rated up to 1.5 kW. And I don't know, he was having trouble getting, there was some kind of delay on it, and I think it might have been due to just manufacturing times. They're all backed up right now. So, but this is your center feed point that attaches to the same 2 terminals at the top of the mast, which this is your blue element here. 20 meters is blue, the blue thumb screws at the top. This attaches to either side of it, and this is where you feed your coax in. So this is going to be the last element I put up, and then we're going to get to look at it. All right, it's completed. All 6 elements are on the band, or on the mast, on the antenna. And I want to go over a couple of key points. Probably took me about 45 minutes to do that, and I was having to fiddle with cameras and 2 different cameras at the time, and go through some instructional points. So Chris says he can do it in 20 minutes. Once you get used to it, you can do it in 20 minutes. I've never done it that fast. Realistically, it's between 30 and 40 minutes for me most of the time, probably closer to 30 than 40. But once you build it 1 or 2 times, it does get easier, because you just kind of, you know where everything goes. But a couple of key points here that we're going to look at is, this is all 6 elements going up the center. And again, since this is the V, this is the direction the antenna is pointed. Sorry about the sun. Here we go. But since I can walk inside of it here, and then these are the elements going around. This is the paracord that separates the front from the back elements on all 6 bands. And the 20 meter is actually up here over my head. So this is the back element right here, coming around. All these are the back elements. I kind of got into the tree right there, but we're okay. And coming back around here, all the way around. And in the center, let me get on this side since the sun is facing me over there. All right, so these are your center posts here. Again, this is 6 meters, 10 meters, 12, 15, 17, and 20 at the top. This is your feed point that connects to the same posts as the 20 meter element at the top. These color codes are done in these elements here, here, the element that's itself, and then the connection point on the leg are all color coded to one another. Red, green, and blue, 20 meters at the top, so you can always know which one goes which. And they're almost, and they're cut, the way they're cut is just very, very resonant on the band. So that is that. Now what we'll do is we'll pick the antenna up and set it down on the ground over there, somewhere where I can actually get to it without getting into the trees. And I will put the Mastworks center post back in the tripod, set the tripod up, and then pick up the antenna, put it on top of the tripod, and we'll put it up in there. That's how we're going to do it. I'm working on another video about setting up the entire Mastworks system, so you'll see that in another video, since this one's been going for, I don't know, 45 minutes or so already. So BuddiHex, it's going to be, I used it at Winter Field Day. I used it for the KA6 LMS Last Man Standing event as a special event station that I worked as KA6 LMS Stroke 5. I've used it 2 or 3 activations since then. We took it to the Outer Banks and used it for Parks on the Air with the Ham Radio Adventures for We4DX Ham Radio Adventures Club. And I've used it probably about a half dozen times in the last 6 months. I love this antenna. It is awesome. I don't like taking it places to set up for a Parks on the Air activation if I'm just going to set up, activate, and take it down and go home. It's too much work for a single activation. But if you're going camping in the park, you're going to stay overnight, something like Field Day that lasts for 24 hours, or something like a contest weekend that goes for 24 to 48 hours, it's awesome. Because you just set it up, use it for 2 or 3 days, take it down. It doesn't take that long to set it up, but if it takes longer to set up your antenna and take it down than it does to activate a park for just a 1-state park activation, then yeah, you probably don't want to do that. But that's just my opinion. It certainly would work. Thanks for watching today. Put a comment below. Let me know if you've got this antenna, if you're waiting on them to post it online, because I'm not even sure right now exactly when it's going to be for sale. And I'm going to have Chris coming on to the show soon to talk about the release of this antenna and the release of his BuddiStick Pro, and a couple more things that he's working on. So 73, thanks for watching. Put your comments below. Let me know what you think about this antenna, and we'll catch you guys next time.